Hey everyone, and welcome to this beautiful Mind Explainer. Today we're diving into a massive, honestly game-changing paradigm shift. See, for decades, psychology pretty much just looked at what was broken or what goes wrong with the human mind. But positive psychology, it completely flips the script. It takes what we typically brush off as just soft skills and reframes them into what they actually are, incredibly powerful human strengths. We're going to be looking at the foundational forces that don't just make you happier as an individual, but literally construct a functioning, thriving society. Think about this for a second. Why do some people naturally inspire others, build stronger relationships, and leave a lasting positive impact wherever they go? You definitely know someone like this, right? They don't just walk into a room, they completely change the emotional temperature of it. So, what's their secret? Well, it's not magic. It's actually a very specific set of human strengths. Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1, the power of connection and positive psychology. You know, when we talk about positive psychology, it's super easy to mistakenly think it's all about just individual personal happiness, just you sitting alone feeling great. But in reality, it's deeply rooted in the power of connection, and the absolute bedrock of that connection begins with compassion. Now, compassion isn't just some passive feeling of pity. It's the ability to recognize another person's suffering paired with the active desire to reduce or relieve that suffering. It's an action-oriented emotion. When you're truly compassionate, you aren't just watching someone's pain from the sidelines, you're genuinely motivated to step in and make things better for them. So what does that actually look like? Well, the building blocks are incredibly clear. We're talking about a caring attitude, offering emotional support, engaging in helping behavior, and genuinely understanding pain. Just picture a real-life scenario, like helping a friend who is going through a sudden, really tough personal crisis. You show up, you listen, maybe you bring them dinner, and you do the whole thing without expecting a single thing in return. That helping behavior and emotional support completely transforms their capacity to heal. Now, while compassion is that drive to relieve suffering, it relies heavily on this next concept, empathy. Empathy is the ability to understand and literally share another person's feelings. It builds directly on top of compassion to seriously elevate our emotional intelligence. When we can truly share the emotional space of someone else, our communication skyrockets, our relationships grow stronger, and we dramatically cut down on unnecessary conflicts. Now, what's really interesting about this is how we actually experience empathy. It kind of splits into two different camps. On one side, we have cognitive empathy, which is an intellectual understanding. You logically comprehend why someone is upset. But on the other side is emotional empathy. This is where you actually feel their emotions right along with them. And a healthy, deeply connected life, it really requires a balance of both, understanding the logic of their feelings and connecting with the heart of them. Let's ground this in a real-world setting. Imagine a high school classroom. A student is just totally paralyzed by anxiety right before a major exam. A teacher, utilizing empathy, doesn't just pass out the test and ignore the kid's distress. By recognizing and understanding that anxiety, the teacher can offer a quiet word of reassurance or maybe just a moment to breathe. That single empathetic connection changes the entire dynamic of the classroom. It turns it into a safe place for growth rather than just a place of fear. Moving on to Section 2, Altruism, Love, and Kindness. So moving beyond just understanding and sharing feelings, we step into actual action. Let's start with altruism, which is basically helping others without expecting any personal reward. Think about hospital blood drives, where people give literally a part of themselves to save a total stranger. Or disaster relief efforts. People travel hundreds of miles to rebuild homes for communities they've never even met. These are profound examples of social responsibility. And the crazy thing is, studies in positive psychology show that doing these things leads to significantly greater life satisfaction for the volunteers, too. Then, of course, we have love. In positive psychology, love is recognized as one of the absolute strongest positive emotions we can experience. And it's not just romantic either. Love is the essential foundation for trust and emotional security across all healthy relationships. It's the core ingredient for personal happiness, weaving through our friendships, our romantic partnerships, and our broader societal bonds. And honestly, nowhere is this more obvious than in family life. When compassion, kindness, and love are actively practiced under one roof, they act like a protective shield. They create this incredibly supportive, resilient home environment. In real life, this means a family that can weather financial stress, health issues, or just everyday conflicts, because their foundation is built on absolute emotional security and mutual support. Kindness operates on a very similar level, but often in the tiny, everyday moments. Simple acts like encouraging others, sharing what you have, offering support, or just expressing gratitude create a beautiful psychological feedback loop. Whether it's a veteran player on a sports team taking a rookie under their wing or just genuinely thanking your barista, kindness immediately generates positive emotions for both the giver and the receiver. It's a win-win. All right, section 3, ethics and moral motivation. Now we're shifting gears slightly from purely emotional connections to that internal compass that guides our choices. What actually encourages someone to behave ethically, even when absolutely no one is watching? Well, it comes down to the pillars of moral motivation: honesty, fairness, responsibility, integrity, and respect. When these pillars guide our actions, they do a whole lot more than just keep us out of trouble. They allow us to actively contribute to a just, functioning society. People guided by these moral values are the reliable anchors in our communities. Next up, section 4, leadership in the workplace. Let's move to the macro level and see how this builds. What happens when we take all of these individual traits, empathy, altruism, moral motivation, and scale them up into a corporate environment? Positive psychology in an organization builds step by step. It starts with employee well-being. When your team actually feels supported, that directly leads to way better teamwork and deep employee engagement. And the final result? The organization benefits from massive increases in productivity and severely reduced burnout. It's a clear, logical journey from individual wellness to total organizational success. And driving that entire process are effective leaders. But what makes a leader truly effective? Well, their core characteristics: integrity, confidence, emotional intelligence, vision, empathy, and responsibility rely heavily on the exact soft skills we've been discussing. A great leader doesn't just boss people around and dictate tasks. They use emotional intelligence and empathy to truly motivate teams, encourage bold innovation, and maintain a genuinely healthy work culture. The really cool thing is how these traits manifest seamlessly across different stages of our lives. If you're a student, it looks like helping classmates and collaborating on projects. As an employee, it's supporting your colleagues and maintaining ethical behavior in the office. And as a leader, it's motivating your teams while genuinely respecting their ideas. The context changes, sure, but the core human strengths, they remain exactly the same. Which brings us to section 5, the ripple effect. As we look at the holistic perspective of positive psychology, we see that these strengths aren't just nice little traits, they're dynamic forces. They echo outward into the world, generating the ultimate benefits of that ripple effect: well-being, positive relationships, flourishing, and real social harmony. The core takeaway here is this: our personal happiness is deeply, permanently, and undeniably connected with helping others. You simply cannot separate individual flourishing from social harmony. They go hand in hand to create a truly meaningful life. I want you to really reflect on this for a second. Have you ever noticed how a simple act of kindness, a genuine compliment, a moment of unexpected support, completely shifts the energy in a room? That shift right there, that is the tangible power of positive psychology at work. That is you changing the world around you. I'm going to leave you with this final thought. The greatest strength is not how much we achieve for ourselves, but how much we uplift others. Thank you for watching Beautiful Mind. Like, share, and subscribe. And be sure to catch our next explainer. Discover how culture, traditions, and indigenous wisdom shape happiness and well-being around the world. See you then.